Good morning, children. So, in the continuation of the previous chapter, that is algorithm and flowcharts. In the last video, I explained you what is algorithms. So, in that case, I told you it is a step-by-step instruction which help us to solve the problems, to find out the solution of our problems. Algorithms are not only used in a computer programming, but also it is used in our day-to-day life. To understand any concept, to understand any problem, to solve any problems, we need first proper algorithms. If you understand the algorithm, it becomes easy for us to solve the particular problem, to analyze the particular problems. So algorithm help us to solve the problem. Now algorithm, in that case, you have learned, even I have given some algorithm also in the video. In that you learn that it is a step-by-step instruction you need to follow, where the first step was start and the last step was stop. So here in flowchart, it is also similar to algorithms, but here we don't have to write a step. Instead, we have to draw. We have to show the problems in pictorial or graphical form. That means we have to use some set of symbols, some drawing concept, and we have to make individual to understand what exactly is a problem and how to solve that, what are the alternatives to solve them. That all things can be understood, can be explained to someone with the help of flowchart. It's a very important. It gives us a pictorial or graphical form of problem solving. So children, when I'm talking about pictorial or graphical, that means some set of symbols are required. Okay, so now see here in the board, I have drawn here symbols of flowcharts. The first symbol you can see, that is start or stop box. As algorithm, first was start, last was stop. Here also concept is same. The first, the diagram, the graph start with start and end with stop. But you have to make a oval shape, and inside the oval shape you have to write the text as start or stop. So oval shape is known as start or stop box. So next to that you can see parallelogram is there. In parallelograms, basically we ask a value or display a value. That means it acts as an input or an output box to ask anything from the user or to display to the user. We draw parallelograms. Then thirdly we have is a processing box, that is rectangle in shape. Okay children, so rectangle in shape, that means processing part, executing part. When once you get the input, you need to process that so that you should get the output. So in between input and output, the middle part is known as processing part, and that part we make using a rectangle box. The next you can see is a diamond shape, and the name I've given is a decision box. Sometime in a problem you need to choose between the two alternatives. Maybe your answer is yes or no, whether I should do this or whether I should do that. Means when you have alternatives, in that case you need to represent that in this diamond box. Diamond box you have to make, and you have to make the concept as if the condition is true, or then this part will execute. If condition is false, then this part will execute. So whenever we need to take a decision, we use diamond shape box. So below that, see, you can flow lines. Flow lines are the line with arrow head. So this means that your data or instruction are flowing from this direction to that directions. The arrow head pointing part point us that in which direction our data or informations are moving. And the last one you can see the circle shape. Okay, the circle shape with arrow. So this means it's a connector box. Sometimes your flowchart is too long to draw in a single page. You can make half in one page, half in another page, and you can use the connector so that the individual can understand that this flowchart is the continuation of the previous one. Or even in same page also, the part of flowchart can be connected with another part with the help of connector box. So children, these are the few symbols which only we need to use while we are drawing the flowchart. You cannot use any other drawings, other symbols. Okay, don't use triangle and all. That is not acceptable. You have to use only these symbols because these symbols represent among themselves. oval shape, start stop box, parallelogram, input output box, rectangle, processing box, diamond, decision box, lines with arrowhead is flow lines, circle with arrowhead is connectors. So these are few symbols which you need to remember. So children, from here, what things comes is features of an flowcharts. What are the features? Feature means it helps us to understand. That is advantage also, you can say. It helps us to understand the problems. Even it helps us to take the decision, because here we have decision box. It helps to analyze the problem. It helps to find out multiple alternatives to solve the problems. It helps to identify best solution for the problems. So see, so many advantage part we have. But instead of so many advantages, still we have some disadvantage, some drawbacks are there. Drawback is what? If the problem is too big, your flowchart will be complicated, and when it will become complicated, it will become very tough to understand. Even the lines will be, multiple lines will be there, and the flowchart will look dirty also, and the individual will face lots of problem to understand that what exactly you need to do to get the proper solutions. So for big problems, flowchart is quite tough. Another things, like if you're drawing the flowchart and at the end you found that you made some mistake, editing is very tough, because you need to again redraw the entire drawing, entire symbols again you need to do. Suppose the processing part you are doing, but you have made a parallelogram, no use, again wrong. So you have to remember the exact symbols, exact shape to make the proper appropriate flowcharts. So this is all about our chapter. So this chapter was basically dealing with algorithm and flowcharts. That means if you understand, if you want to understand any problems, any program of computer, or maybe your individual's problem also, first you just try to write down either algorithm or try to draw the flowchart. If your concept is clear from there, then easily you can see that and you can find out alternative solutions, and from that alternatives you can find out the best solution, and I'm sure that you can easily solve the problems. So children, there are some cases where you'll find that certain problem is executing multiple times, means same thing is executing so many times. In that case, what you will do, you'll write 100 and 200 lines of code, or for algorithms, or maybe 100 and 200 symbols you'll draw to make a flowchart. That will be more complicated. For this also we have one solution known as looping and counter. Looping is the concept where we can create a circle part. That means if condition true, this execute, else condition false, it will go up. Again we'll check for condition with another variables, that is counter variables. Now counter are the variables which increases. You can say in short, counters are number of steps to solve the problems. Say 5 times you need to print your name. So what you will do? 5 times output box, that means 5 rectangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rectangle you will draw? No. 1 rectangle you will draw, you will print your name, and that rectangle you will put as a decision, that till your counter start with 1 and goes up to 5. So when your counter value is 1, it will print, counter value 2, again print, 3, print, 4, print, 5, print, and when counter value becomes 6, condition didn't match. That means it will go to the no part. That means, see children, you are using a decision box with looping and counter value. So by this way, when you use looping, counter value and decision box, what you can do is the big problem can become smaller, and easily you can draw the flowchart and find out the solution. See, if you go in this way, it becomes quite easy. So this is all about our chapter. Okay, so chapter was dealing about algorithm and flowcharts. So you need to understand this properly. So go through the video of part 1 also, part 2 also, and from this video, from this chapter, I've given some exercise. Okay, the homework you need to do in your copy. Even the flowchart one example is given that you need to understand properly. So children, multiple choice questions and all you have to do by yourself. Only question answers are given with answer that you need to copy in your note this textbook. Clear children? So see this. So children, you just first of all you see how the various symbols are arranged in a proper order to create flowcharts, pictorial representation of flowcharts. So see here, as I have already said you that flowchart always begin with start and stop. Okay, that is an oval shape, and a parallelogram for input or output part, and a rectangle box for processing, and a diamond shape for decision, and there are the flow lines. So children, by this way we can create a flowchart, we can draw a flowcharts, we can have a planning of our problems so that alternative solutions can be easily found. So children, now based on this chapter I have given a homework exercise where question answers are given, and rest like fill in the blanks, multiple choice you have to do by yourself. So see your first exercise. It's a multiple choice question. That means 3 options are there and you need to select the correct options. You need to tick the correct options. Your question number 1, to compute the work you need to follow a dash of steps, that is counter, combination or sequence. So out of these 3 options, 1 is correct, that you need to tick. Number 2, an algorithm always begin with the word dash, stop, loop or start. So the correct answer you have to tick. Number 3, dash shaped symbol is used in decision making process. For decision making, which symbol is used? Oval, rectangle, parallelogram, diamond, okay, or circle. You have to tick the correct one. And number 4, dash are forms of data which can change values. So forms of data which can change values. That means options are like loops, flowcharts or variables. Okay, you have to write the proper or correct answer. You have to tick the correct answer. So this is your first exercise, which is known as multiple choice questions. Now let us move to the next exercise. Answer the following. Number 1, what is the difference between an algorithm and a flowchart? So algorithm is the step-by-step instruction written in simple language, whereas flowchart is the pictorial representation of the instruction to solve a problems. So a step-by-step instruction is known as algorithm, whereas pictorial, the graphical part, is known as flowchart. So second question, what are loops? As I have already said you, loops is a circle. So loops are the repetition of same instruction till condition is true. Till the condition satisfied, till the condition is true, the statement keep on executing again and again. Such conditions are known as loop. So children, now let us move to the next question. Number 3, write the rules to write an algorithm, draw a flowchart. There are certain rules you need to follow. Few important rules I have highlighted. See the answer. Always begin with the word start and end with the word stop. This is applicable for both algorithm also, flowchart also. Write each statement in separate line. Point number B, use specific symbol and draw in the direction of flow of data. You have to use the specific symbols which are given. Now for input you cannot take rectangle, or for process you cannot take a oval shape. That is not at all fit for proper flowcharts. You have to use specific symbols and draw in the direction of flow of data. Even the flow of data, that direction should be in proper order. That means arrow head should point proper order. It must have only one start and one stop symbol. You cannot have more than one start or more than one stop symbols. Only one. So this is question number 3. Now let us move to next question. Number 4. Explain any 3 symbols used in a flowchart. There are so many symbols. We'll just highlight the 3 one. So first one is an oval shaped symbol, is used to represent the beginning and end of a flowchart. That is a start and stop. A parallelogram is used to represent the instruction that take input and give output. That's for input and output. A rectangle is used to represent the processing of instruction. That's rectangle box is for processing. So this is question number 4. Now let us move to next question. Number 5. List the features of algorithms and flowchart. You have to list the features, important features of algorithm and flowchart. So together I have given point number 1. It should be clear, precise and well defined. That means whatever you write, either instruction for algorithm or you may draw for flowchart, it should be clear, precise and well defined. Point number 2, it should be independent of any programming language used. That means it should not follow any programming language like maybe Java, C, C++. Okay, it should be free from any programming language. Normal, simple English will be used. So next question is, write the advantages and disadvantages of flowchart. So as already I have said in the video that there are certain advantages. Actually there are so many advantages, but still there are few disadvantages also. So let us see the point. Advantages are, it helps us to understand the problems. We can easily understand the problem. It serves as a guide for program coding. If you have a proper algorithm or proper flowchart, easily you can write a program. It will not give you tough time or tough part. You can easily write down the program. You can easily get the output in proper order. Disadvantages are, it cannot be easily changed because it requires redrawing. You cannot change. Modification is very tough because at the last when you are drawing a flowchart or you are writing the algorithms, at the last you got that you missed some point. You need to erase everything because for algorithm steps should be in different statement and that also in sequence, whereas flowchart also same way. It is not suitable for complex and big problems. For big and complex problem you cannot write algorithm as well as you cannot draw flowcharts because it will become more complicated and it will be tough for user to understand. So these are some disadvantages of flowchart and algorithms. So this is all about your homework, and it is the exercise of chapter 4 actually. So everyone will do in your copy. I will correct it, I will rectify it when school get reopens.